Hey, how's it going, everybody? Hope you're doing well. And today we're going to be taking a look at a really cool product. These are the lizard tail belts. Basically a belt made out of rope. Very simple product, but I've been wanting to check out this brand for a very long time, and they sent me two of their belts. So big shout out to Lizard Tail Belts. Really appreciate it. So they sent me two belts and another accessory that we'll talk about in a little bit. But these are basically the two main belts that they sell. They also have a kids belt. We're not going to be going over that one in this video, but these are their two main belts. So they have their solo belts and then they have their max belts. So the only difference between these two is just the size of the rope. So the rope is a lot thicker on the max belts than the solo. So how I like to think of it is the solo belts are very good for women or men on the smaller side, and then the max is good for men or women on the larger side. So basically it kind of works out that way. So if you're a bigger person, you're going to use the max. If you're a smaller person, you're going to use the solo. So the two colors that I chose, this is called the Ollie. So basically it's like an olive color. I don't know if it's hard to tell on the screen, but it's like like an olive green. And then this is called the Lucy, which is basically just their version of black. And then they also sent me a camera strap, which is really nice. And this is in the color blue steel. So what I really like about Lizard Tail belts is they have a lot of different colors. You can choose from, I think, 10 different colors on the camera strap. You can choose from around the same, like 10 colors maybe on the solo, and then about 6 or 7 colors on the max. So you have a lot of different colors to choose from. If you're not a fan of this black or this olive green or the blue, you have many different options to choose from. All right, so before we get into actually looking at the belts, we're going to take a look at a normal belt. So this is just an old black leather belt that I've had lying around. And as you can see here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's only 7, little increments that you can set your belt at. So as you see, mine, most commonly was set right here. But throughout the day, you're going to be eating, drinking water, moving. You're going to get bloated. You're going to get less bloated. So the fact that you can only adjust your pants to, 1/4 inch increments means that it's never going to be exactly comfortable. You're never going to be able to get that exact fit. But with the Lizard Tail belts, you can pretty much get an exact fit at all times. All right, so now we're going to be taking a look at the belts here. So this is just the classic solo belt, kind of their claim to fame. All of their belts are made from USA claimed climbing rope. So these belts are very solid, very secure, and very strong. So you don't have to worry about, these things ripping. It's not like your standard, paracord or nylon rope you get from the hardware store. This is very high quality climbing rope. So this is basically how Lizard Tail belts work. So let's say you loop this thing all the way through your belt loops. So this is the front of your pants right now. You're looking down at your pants. So basically you're going to loop the Lizard Tail belt through just like this, and then you're going to tuck this end in your belt loop. So this is the front of your pants right here. So this is where your normal belt buckle would go. And look at that. I'm yanking really hard, and that is not going anywhere. Like, no matter how hard I pull on it, it does not go anywhere. So that's really nice because they have this little patented ring right here. And basically all these little nubs inside basically grip really good against that rope right here, because that rope kind of goes and it bends almost at a 90-degree angle, as you can see right there. So when that gets pulled, it is not going anywhere. It creates a really good strong bond right there between the little plastic grippies and the rope. So that's basically how the Lizard Tail belt works. And the nice part is that, let's say you set your belt and you go to work and everything, and then let's say about 2 hours later you have a snack. You're going to get a little bloated and your belt's a little tight. All you have to do is basically open it and you just give a little tiny pull. So now you can micro adjust your belt, and then you pull it back down, and now it's going to be super strong. So as long as you have your belt tucked against your body, there's always going to be that little 90-degree angle right there, and it's always going to be strong. And then when you want to adjust it, you basically put it out, in an L shape, and then that's when you can adjust it, because you're allowing the belt to flow through those little grippy nubs in there. So that's basically how it works. And a common misconception is people think that you're supposed to go this way with it. So they think you're supposed to loop it through and then bring it back over itself because that seems like a more secure bond, but it's not, because it can do that. So you have to loop it this way. That way it creates that super strong bond right there. So that's how it works. Very, very genius. I personally love the feature to where you can micro adjust it. And that's a big selling point for these lizard tail belts, is the fact that you can pretty much always have an exact fitting belt whenever you want. So really, really cool feature there. And then what's nice on the belt is you actually have this little piece of flexible rubber. This is called a belt retainer. And basically after you loop your belt through, you can pull up on this little tab right here, and then you can kind of fit your belt underneath that piece, and that holds your belt. It holds the loose end of the belt against the part that's against your body. So let's say you go through and you loop your belt, you get it tightened up, you can pull this around here, pull this up, and you can loop your belt through that, and that keeps it nice and secure up against your body. So that's basically what that's for. It's called a belt retainer. And then here is the max belt. So this is a lot thicker of a rope. If I pull this one out here, you can see the difference in the size of the rope. So it's not that big of a difference, but it does make a difference when it's actually on your body. You can definitely feel the difference between the max and the regular. All right, now in terms of pricing, for the regular solo belt, you have a price of $26, and for the max belt, you have a price of $29. So $3 more for the wider diameter. So in my opinion, fantastic pricing. And if you're unsure of your size, they have a sizing chart on the website. So I am a size 36 waist. So I fell in the large category, and they go all the way up to a size 50 in men's and a size 26 in women's. And then they also have kids sizes as well. So very, very cool. And then they say here, if you're between sizes, you just round up to the next size, always round up. And then they always add 6 to 8 inches of tail on the end of the belt to account for, fastening the belt. So you guys don't have to worry about any of that. So really nice little sizing chart, so you can always find your size. So if you're a avid hiker or outdoorsman and you're worried about weight, and you're worried about basically shedding off any excess weight that you can if you're going to be going on a hike, I'm going to weigh these for you so you can see just the difference. So this is a standard belt. So this is just a standard thick black leather belt that you can find pretty much anywhere, 7.65 ounces. And now we're going to grab the max belt. So 3.10 ounces, pretty much half the weight of a regular belt. And then the regular solo is even lighter at 2.15 ounces. That is ridiculously lightweight. So if you're focused on weight and shedding off every ounce that you possibly can, if you're going on a hike, these are the belts for you. All right, and then now we're going to take a quick look at the camera strap. Now, unfortunately, I can't really show you guys how it looks because my only camera is the one I'm filming with. I'm going to put up some B-roll shots of me basically wearing this with my camera, shooting from my iPhone. So this is basically how it looks. It's a very, very comfortable strap. Pretty much, I mean, I feel like most camera straps you can find on like Amazon and stuff are already rope. But if you're on Lizard Tail Belt's website and you're shopping around for, belts and you need a camera strap, you might as well just add it to your cart. It's going to be high quality. So if you guys take a look right here, so you have this kind of like plasticky little connector piece here. You can kind of slide it up and down if you want to, but I don't really think there's any need to. It does come with 2 key rings on the end. And then it comes with the little pieces that you use to connect to your camera, little hooks, if that makes sense. The little end rings on your camera. So you can loop these through there, and then these get connected to the key rings. So yeah, really, really nice little camera strap. This is definitely going to be my new camera strap if I ever have to use it. I really like the blue color, and it's a solid price. This comes in at 24 bucks. So for a camera strap, not too shabby, really high quality, well-made camera strap. And then before we end this video, I just want to show you guys all of the extra stuff that they have on their website. So obviously they have the a little camera strap there. And they also have a little pack of those little retainers that we talked about earlier. So we have the max belt retainer pack and then the solo retainers. So you have all these different lanyards. So what's really cool about Lizard Tail belts is once they make all of their belts, they have all these extra lengths of rope that they can't really do anything with. So they actually recycle it and they make all these different types of lanyards. So they have a regular lanyard, they have a wristlet, they have a keychain, they have this thing called a LT Scrappy, they have an LT bracelet. So they make a bracelet out of the rope. And then they have a little graphic tee, but it's sold out. But so that's really cool that they kind of recycle all of the rope that they can't use, and they make these little keychains and these little lanyards. So really cool. Thought I'd throw in those little extras there. All right, you guys. Well, that is a look at Lizard Tail belts. I highly recommend all of these products. I have extensively used the two belts. Haven't had a huge chance to use the camera strap quite yet because I haven't been out doing photography lately, but I've used both of these belts. My wife actually uses the solo belt now. That's her primary belt, and I currently use the max belt. So very comfortable. Me and my wife are big fans of this company, and I highly recommend all these products. They will be linked in the description below if you'd like to go check them out, and I will see you in the next one.